Now I want to talk about being generous with treats. So it's my experience, and I have gone to an awful lot of pet dog training classes over the years. Going to training classes and workshops is a bit of a thing of mine. And what I notice often is that the people there with me, like, they've usually got treats with them, but they can just be a little bit slow, a wee bit stingy, to be frank, about giving them out. So what I'll often see is that dogs might be initially, and remember, a training class can be quite an exciting environment for a dog. They're suddenly there, everybody's got food. If you're going to reward-based classes, everybody's got food on them, and other people's food is often quite intriguing. And there are other dogs there. There's quite a lot going on. Sometimes there's movement in the class, so sometimes they have to wait their turn while other dogs do things, and that's all can be quite a big ask. But what I notice is a lot of the time people want to just sit there and not give out any treats until it's maybe their turn to do something, and then they'll go, right, okay, we'll do whatever it is. We'll do a stay or a recall or whatever, a bit of heel work, whatever it is they're doing, whatever's happening in the class, and then they'll start giving out treats for that. And in between times, the dog doesn't get treats at all. And even then, sometimes, even when there is an exercise going on, often people are reluctant to give too many. There seems to be a real concern that in some way the dog will become ruined if they are given too many treats. Now, they can absolutely become fat. You do not want to go nuts with food, but what you can often do is use some of their food or adjust their food downwards a bit, use healthy treats and adjust their food downwards a little bit to take account for it. And use tiny little bits of food as treats. You don't need to be going nuts with the size. Often I see people give out, I would break into 10 pieces and then have 10 treats. So you can use really small treats. And the reason I'm mentioning this is, now, sometimes, although I haven't for quite a long time, but I sometimes have been a guest speaker in one of the Pause for Progress projects. So Pause for Progress is this absolutely amazing Scottish company that takes dog training to people who maybe otherwise wouldn't be able to have access to dogs and learn about dog training. And one of the projects has been running for a long time now. Runs in Polmont Young Offenders Institute along the road from me, and they are absolutely fantastic trainers there. Take rescue dogs into the prison and the young men train them. Now, they are not afraid to give out treats. Absolutely not. And I think this is why they often have real successes. So I remember I was once there, and one of the students was training like a middle-aged staffy. Middle-aged staffy, didn't look that enthusiastic about training. And the young man who was training him said to me, what I'm going to do is teach him to jump up onto that chair and turn around and sit. And I was thinking, and he had no more than half an hour with this dog at this stage. We'd done quite a lot of other things. This was just the last wee bit. So he had no more than half an hour at the point he made this announcement. And I said, oh, well, that'd be great. I'd be really interested to see how you get on with that. And I was just thinking, no way, that dog doesn't even look like he wants to climb up on the chair. I can't imagine him climbing up, turning around, sitting. Anyway, after about I wandered off to speak to somebody else, and after maybe 20-25 minutes, this young man called me back. Wait till you see this, he said. And so he gets the dog who's there on the floor next to him, and I can't remember what cue word he was using for this particular trick, but he said whatever he was saying to the dog or pointed at the chair, and this dog got up, immediately jumped up onto the chair, turned around, sat down. Absolutely amazing. And then he gave the dog lots of treats. And I know that a big part of his success with that dog, he hasn't gone out and got a young collie or a dog who's like going to be really into training. This was a middle-aged staffy who'd come into rescue, who probably hadn't had any training before and looked to me like he just wanted to lie down and sleep. He was living in kennels at the time, and that often is quite a tiring environment. And I think all the dog really wanted to do was have a nap. So the reason that this young man had had such success with this dog is because he wasn't shy to be giving out lots of treats. He would have, I watched him, he would reward everything that the dog did that was a step towards his goal, and didn't wait for the dog to become frustrated or to not know what was going on. He was on it with the treats. Brilliant, you took a step towards the chair, that's fantastic. You've put a paw on it, oh, you're the best dog in the world, here, have lots of treats. And that is why he had so much success. So I always think that when we live with our dogs all the time, an expectation can creep in that they should just do things because they like us. And actually, unless it's something I already want to do, there are a few things that I do just because I like people. So usually I am getting something out of it as well, even if it's just an internal feeling of warmth and being a good person. But usually I am getting something out of it as well, unless it's an activity that I want to do anyway, just for myself. So dogs are the same. If we want to teach them to do something that they would, otherwise feel quite indifferent about, then we really need to be making sure that we are generous with treats. I honestly think it's one of the reasons that most people have problems with their dog's behaviour, or a lot of the normal behaviour things like dogs being too lively and finding it hard to settle down, not more serious trauma based. The more serious trauma or illness-based behaviour problems are different. But the normal day-to-day, the dog pulls in the lead, or it won't listen, or the dog doesn't sit every time when you ask. Those kind of normal day-to-day things, often they can be really seriously alleviated by being a whole lot more generous with the rewards and just not being stingy. We worry that we will ruin our dogs by being nice to them, and my experience is that doesn't happen. But if you do want a dog to be actively keen to work with you, then often being generous with the treats is a good first step. Knowing what you are rewarding and what is a step towards it, but then being really generous is a good step along the way. So anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.